Morning, folks. Wanted to give you a quick update of what's going on up in the mountains of western North Carolina and bring you up to speed on what we've learned in the last few days. It's early in the morning and up here feeding the chickens and everything, but I wanted to give you a brief rundown of everything and let you know how all the stuff was going. As of last Tuesday, the NCDOT had information that there was approximately 400 roads and bridges out, but that number has now swelled in divisions 13 and 14 to over 850 bridges that's got to be surveyed and checked on to see if they're viable for passage by vehicle, and reestablished the guidelines for the bridges and basically do a complete inspection. Those bridges are suspected to be possibly damaged or completely gone. So the number has went way up drastically from what the original was last Tuesday. It's been 13 days since the hurricane actually hit up in western North Carolina, and we just continue to pray for these people. There's still many trapped and so forth. But as of yesterday, which was Monday, 12 days after, those numbers have increased to 850, and these bridges and roads right now they're saying something like the road is impassable, or the bridge is gone, or the bridge is damaged. So that's why the number's so high, and that's what you can also follow this, by the way. drivenc.gov. You can see the road closures. If you drop the menu down, you can see where the shelters are located and things like that. Now, the shelter locations are state-sponsored or government-sponsored, and it's only going to show those locations. It is not going to show the distribution hubs or anything like that where all the food and stuff like that is going in. You will not see that because it's not a state-funded or government-funded program. It's the program funded by the people of the churches and the pastors at those local churches that are doing all that hard work. Many of the residents also have bridges that are out, completely washed away. Now these are privately owned bridges, so all of those people that have those type bridges will have to basically pay for those bridges to be replaced or repaired, whatever is deemed necessary. That is not something that the NCDOT will pay for or anything like that. That being said, a lot of those small bridges, the privately owned bridges that have families that have to utilize crossing those bridges to get back up into the hills, you know, where there may be a big family farm or something like that, those people remain trapped. They first of all got to get the main road in and then be able to get to them. And you're thinking, well, why can't they cross the river or the creek with a four-wheeler? Well, there's so much debris, folks, that and the banks have been cut back so high that they'd have to basically get some kind of a track hoe or something down there to cut down the river bank or the creek bank to be able to get a ATV or something like that in. So, and then they've got to find a way to get out. So you got to think, when we were up there, we saw lots of debris, telephone poles, fence posts, just all sorts of cables from communications and power, and barbed wire and all that just tangled up like big old wads and mounds of spaghetti. We saw fuel trucks turned upside down in the creeks. We saw mobile homes washed down the rivers. We saw anything that could be washed, campers and that sort of thing was washed down the creek, parts of people's houses, roofs, and that type of thing. But the one thing that was real disturbing was we definitely knew each time there was a house lost, because we would see a water heater in the river or the creek, and we knew that water heater belonged to somebody's residence that was lost. So if you just take account of the water heaters that you find, you'll know exactly just about how many people upstream lost their house. Now, I made several notes and things that I'm looking at. I want you to keep in mind what you're seeing on TV is being downplayed dramatically for reasons that are yet to come to light. We don't know, but they're not wanting to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. They downplaying this, and one reason is they've been caught with FEMA having no money to help our people, and I'm yet to see any country step up and offer help. Now, if there is one, I hope somebody will let me know in the comments, but I've not seen one country offer help to the United States. We're always there when they need the help, but when it comes down to it, you find out real quick who your friends are. And this goes to show, too, in our own government, with it not being there for so many days until they was basically shamed into it. It was the Lord's people that showed up with food and blankets and this type of stuff to help feed our fellow North Carolinians and Americans. So you can't depend on anybody in this kind of situation that they call your friends, except when it comes down to the people of the church. Things that is going to go on now, the Starlink. If you've been able to access the Starlink or know anything about it in the past, this is the lifeline that the people are getting right now from Elon Musk to be able to communicate outside these areas that they're trapped in. So that's a big plus for folks, and this is hopefully going to help people to identify other people that are trapped on beyond them if they can get into the Starlink program. Most people know where everybody live up in those back in those hollows and everything, so they know beyond them that there may be other people. The post office, the post office is currently not delivering to most places up there. The post offices may be washed out or completely gone, or the roads are impassable to get the mail delivery out there. Also, Amazon, same way, not able to deliver. There's tons of debris and stuff all around, like we talked about. A lot of rocks, big boulders laying in the middle of the creeks and rivers. I even saw a golf course that was just completely covered in mud. The only thing that was sticking up was the flag where the cup was at, and don't know how that stayed in the cup, but we did see that. That's a lot of stuff. We saw hundreds and hundreds of trees laying across the railroad tracks. So this will have to be cleared, as well as the railroad itself repaired from where the mudslides and the erosion from the rivers and creeks washed out the rail system up there. So they're not able to get anything in by rail. The only thing is successful in getting back into the hills is ATV and the pack mule team. They've been successful, and your efforts up into Flat Rock have enabled them to be able to reach Burnsville. They've been able to get food now into Burnsville, and that's where the pack mule team is continuing operations. So your donations and stuff is aiding this particular effort. The Canton Church now has power, but they're still reaching out to the community, trying to find out, going door to door, who needs help. And a lot of the people up there, when we were there, had no idea that their grocery store was gone, and no way to get food except by the church. So in the video link in the description, I'm going to list, if you're interested in giving a financial donation, how you can reach the Midway Wesleyan Church. You can pull it up on Facebook if you want to. I'm going to leave a link. You can scroll down on their page and go on the post and hit the post button and go down the page, and you'll see where they have Operation Mountain Relief. You'll see the QR code sitting there. You can click on that and it'll bring you right to it. Just be sure that you mark it for Mountain Relief, and that way you can get your tax-deductible donation and stuff on that. Roads and bridges are going to be very difficult to replace, and let me tell you why. The amount of force of water and mud and debris that came down those rivers and creeks altered the path of many of the rivers. So in other words, the river is not where it used to be, or the creeks or the streams. They may have moved over 200 feet. Well, that's going to be a challenge to engineering to be able to replace these roads. A lot of them are going to have to be gone back into, that's the rivers and the creeks, and rechanneled to where they used to lay so that construction can begin. So there's a lot of challenges people don't realize. It's just not simply go back in and fill it back in and rebuild up the road or the bridge. Some of the cases are they're going to have to reroute the river back to where it was located before and start all over. There's a turning point now, folks, in the mountains. They're in the 30s up there tonight, and it's getting cold. A lot of the folks up there are huddled together in each other's houses if they've got a house left standing. There's some living under partial houses that are standing, got tarps under their decks. There's a lot of people that are gathered in the church, and they don't have any power, folks, so they're trying to stay warm best they can. Most of them have lost everything, so that means all their winter clothing and stuff, and it's critical that they get these winter clothes. So our push now, we're going to be leaving on November the 2nd, going back up, and our push is winter clothing. They need new or gently used coats, jackets, sweatshirts, hoodies for men, women, and children. Now, we do want to continue supplying diapers and baby formula and wipes and, of course, food and water, but they now need winter clothing. They're going to need scarves, toboggans, gloves, and men, women, and children. I'm going to post in the description. It's very important. If you want to see what's needed, I'm going to have this in the description. I can't remember it all. There's been a request for these little green propane tanks and the little buddy heaters, those that you can find at Walmart. It's like they heat like those out 9,000 BTUs. They're using this to heat the house where maybe 10 to 15 people are gathered inside trying to stay warm. There's also a need for some tarps. These plastic 6x8 or 6x9, 6x10 tarps. The blue ones, some of them are brown, some of them are gray. There's also a need for this. So keep that in mind. There's a need for new underwear and socks, new for men, women, and children. And the list is quite long, and that's why I'm saying I'm going to post it in the description. I'm going to also have a link to the Midway Wesleyan Church Facebook page for those of you wanting to make a financial donation. Those donations, as soon as they come in, the Ladies Missionary Society is taking that money and going and buying pillows, blankets, and the stuff that we've been discussing here so that these people can get some help. There's also I don't want to get too descriptive in this because there may be some children and stuff, but there may be shortly an issue with a lot of bacteria and stuff starting to generate up there, especially if warm weather continues in the day. There's a lot of the stench is pretty bad. Let me put it that way. That might be the best way to put it. And it's coming from the lost people that they can't find, and they've got cadaver dogs and stuff going in now. It's turned from a rescue operation pretty much to a recovery. But they are still trying to reach people way back up in the mountains that have been inaccessible due to the roads, the bridges, and so forth being out. So think about it, folks. We're on day 13. A lot of these people have not had a shower or a change of clothes in this amount of days, and a lot of them have been on minimum food and water. because they've not been able to be gotten to in the mountains yet. But that's changing with the pack mules and the ATVs and the volunteers from the churches going in on foot, carrying water, their own backpacks full of canned foods, and searching for these people. They're continuing to find them. And just a few days ago, there was about 200 found in a church in Candler, North Carolina. And they hadn't had water at that point in 6 or 7 days, and food either, and was really dehydrated and so forth. But they've been able to recover and get these people some help. I appreciate you joining us. Like I said, check the description for a full list of what's needed, and the QR code will be there for any financial donations. And all of this will be taken up to Flat Rock. And one other important note, the donations have been so good that Tim has been able to warehouse a lot of his stuff down in Forest City now. And they're using another church fellowship hall, the Canton Wesleyan Church. And the main goal of what he's doing in that situation there is he's sorting it down there, getting it up where he's at, and they're getting stuff now into Chimney Rock and Lake Lure for those residents, as well as Burnsville, Canton, and other areas that are too numerous to mention, as well as his own congregation that are needing food and water and shelter at this time. It's going to be a marathon, folks. It's not going to be something that's going to be quickly taken care of. These people's going to need our help for quite some time, so keep that in mind. There's been numerous donations from churches that came in to the Midway Church, and then on the morning of the big run up there, we had 6 churches participate in helping get it up there. And if your church or a civic organization would like to help and you're taking donations, don't know where to take it, I'll advise you that it needs to go to a church, simply because other avenues, that stuff is making it right to the government hands and going into armories and this type of stuff. And they're not really doing anything, folks, except for stockpiling the food that the people's giving. So make sure, if you're going somewhere, get in touch with a local church that is set up to be able to handle this stuff, or risk it getting in the hands of the government, and who knows when or if it'll ever get to the people. I appreciate you joining us this morning. I hope everybody has a blessed day. Sorry it's early and everything, but you got to do what you got to do. Have a blessed day.